Welcome to Joyful Jen Yoga. Today we'll be moving through a yin practice. So it's a slower practice where we'll hold some of the shapes for a little bit longer. And in this practice, we're looking to relax our muscles as best we can so that we can start to get into some of the deeper connective tissues like our fascia. So we'll begin our practice today in a butterfly shape. So it looks like Baddha Konasana. Our feet will come together and our knees will be separate. But instead of having your heels really close into your body, move your heels away a little bit. If you have blocks, you might place them underneath your knees, especially if you tend toward hypermobility. It helps you from going too far in the shape. So when we explore our yin shapes, we're looking to get somewhere around 60-70% of our max stretch, and then the intensity comes from the length of the hold. So you can kind of settle your body into whatever shape you're choosing. I like to use a bolster, so again, I don't go too far into the shape. So play with what makes sense. We'll walk our torso forward and then allow your body to release. You can support your head in your hands if you'd like. You could relax and let your head hang if that feels good. We'll start to connect to our breath, holding in this shape, watching the inhales, watching the exhales, and allowing that to be the practice. I like to think of each yin shape as an opportunity for a mini meditation. So your practice here could be, I am breathing in and I am breathing out. Watching your inhales, watching your exhales, and allowing that to be your practice here. You might notice that after a minute or so of holding the pose, your body willingly starts to release. If that happens, certainly allow your body to maybe melt a little further into the shape, but again, be mindful that you're not going too far. I am breathing in and I am breathing out. Allow yourself 10 more steady breaths here in your butterfly shape. I am breathing in and I am breathing out. Take one more deep inhale and exhale. And then gently walk your torso back upright. You can slide your pillow or your bolster off to the side if you are using one. And we'll start to extend our right leg out to the side and place the left foot to the inner right thigh, So we're coming into what either is called half dragonfly or half butterfly, depending on what insect you like more. But we'll come into a straight leg with our right leg and then bending the left knee. If it bothers your knee or your hip, you can always support the knee with a block. We'll start to find our way into a side body stretch. So remember to relax that right leg as best you can, especially if you have the tendency to kind of curl the toes back. See if you can soften. I like to take a block under my elbow and then rest my head in my hand. The left arm could reach up overhead if that's comfortable in the shoulder, or if you'd prefer, you could rest your hands on your head. If even that bothers your shoulder, feel free to bring the left arm back behind you. We're more concerned about opening through left side body than irritating that left shoulder. Come right back to the practice of I am breathing in and I am breathing out. If it helps to cultivate a light ujjayi sound, feel free to do so. Having that gentle constriction in your throat, giving yourself a slightly audible breath, especially if you find your mind wandering. Take 5 more breaths on this side. On your next breath in, release the left hand down. Let it help to guide your torso back upright. Pause at center and observe the difference between your side bodies. And as you're ready, we'll slide the left leg straight and work the right foot into the inner left thigh. Again, support your right knee if that feels necessary in your body, and then consciously relax that left leg. Taking maybe a block underneath your left elbow, or if you want to do this completely without props, that's absolutely fine too, if that feels good, or if you don't have the props. You can play with what works best for your right shoulder, so adjusting that right arm, hands on the head, or arm back behind you. Remembering that we're in these shapes for a slightly extended time, so we don't want to be in increasing discomfort. We want to create a shape that we can breathe in, that we can be in. Watch your inhales, watch your exhales. I am breathing in and I am breathing out. Five more deep breaths on this side. And then again, releasing the right arm down, using the right hand to guide your way upright. Pause, Be with your side body. Notice any length or any opening that you might feel. And then begin to bend both knees. Walk your feet as wide as your mat and let your knees just knock right to left. Notice how that feels, just a little release. And then we'll come through our hands and knees. We're going to create our puppy pose or anahatasana. I'm going to show you a couple of options here. Number one, I like to always have a blanket underneath my knees. It's just more comfortable that way. You could do this again completely without props if that would suit you, by walking your hands forward, taking a breath in, and then melting your chest down, resting your forehead on the earth or a block. So that's an option. What I like to do sometimes, and this isn't for everybody of course, but if it feels good in your body, you might play with taking your forearms or your elbows onto the blocks and then melting your chest down to the ground this way. Whatever shape makes you happy. And if you find that doing both arms at the same time is too much, you could come into a quarter dog where you rest your forearm underneath your head and do one arm at a time. And I'll tell you when we're about halfway through the hold, and if you're choosing to do one arm at a time, you'll know to switch. Tap back into your breath. I am breathing in and I am breathing out. And that's all you need to think about here in this moment. Your breath, the sensations you're experiencing in your body. Perhaps imagining every breath an opportunity to open up through your heart space even more. You might find it interesting to turn your palms up. Maybe even draw your fingers in and then spread your fingers out to release a bit through your wrists and forearms if they feel tight. If you're choosing quarter dog, having only one arm extended, go ahead and switch the arms here. 10 more steady breaths. I am breathing in and I am breathing out. 3 more steady breaths. And then gently begin to work your way up to all fours. A couple of options to release. So if it feels good to take some rounds of cat-cow, that might feel good to your body. It might also feel nice to tuck your toes and lift up and back to down dog if that would feel better. So just kind of play with what's true for your body. And then we'll release our knees back down and then lower our entire torso to the earth. And as you do that, We'll work elbows underneath shoulders, coming into Sphinx pose. So there's a little bit of muscular activity here because I'd prefer you to pull your heart slightly forward rather than collapse into your shoulders. So see if you can have a little integrity there around your shoulder blades. Your head can hang if you'd like. Some people find it a little bit more comfortable to build a little tower here with blocks and support the forehead that way. So choosing what makes sense, what feels true for you. Breathing into your low back, feeling the opening through the front of your torso. Staying in your Sphinx pose, or if you would like, you might start to straighten your arms out, coming into seal. Sometimes I widen my feet a little bit when I come into this shape. It's a little bit deeper of a back bend, so if this doesn't feel good in your body, stay in Sphinx pose. 5 steady breaths in and out. Notice if your breath has started to deepen any, and then gently release elbows to the ground if you lifted them, and then release your elbows out to the side, resting your forehead on the little pillow you created with your hands, or resting a cheek to the mat, whatever serves your body more. And you can invite a little wiggle into your hips. You might even bend your knees and kind of windshield wiper your feet side to side if that feels good. And then working your way back to stillness. Continuing to remind yourself, I am breathing in and I am breathing out. Taking your hands by your chest, we'll lift up to all fours and then shift hips to heels, finding child's pose. You can extend your arms out in front of you or reach your arms back behind you. Let your forehead rest on the earth or a block. And letting these forward fold shapes help you to turn deeper and deeper inward. Staying focused on your breath. I am breathing in and I am breathing out. You don't need to be anywhere else. You're exactly where you ought to be, doing exactly what you ought to be doing. And letting your whole body relax in this child's pose. Notice if your mind starts to travel away from your breath. See if you can bring yourself right back. I am breathing in and I am breathing out. Allow yourself 5 more deep breaths here. Gently walk your hands back underneath your shoulders, lifting all the way up, and then we'll make our way down onto our back body. And when we arrive on our back, you might have your block or a blanket or even a pillow nearby. You might want that for your twist. So we'll lower all the way onto our back body, and then you can walk your hips over to the right, or the left rather. Walk your hips over to the left, let your knees move to the right, and you can take a blanket in between your knees if you'd like, and then stretch your left arm over, coming into a twist. Start to let your body drop softly into the space, observing how your breath changes when you're in a twist. Being sure that the shape you've created with your body is one that you can be in. And bring your mind back to, I am breathing in and I am breathing out. I am breathing in and I am breathing out. 5 more breaths on this side of our twist. Beginning to relax through your arms, letting them slide down towards your side. And then bringing your knees back up to center, evening out your pelvis, and then wiggle your hips over to the right, letting your knees move over to the left. Letting arms open back up, and then maybe looking over your right shoulder, but only if that feels good in your body. Watch where your mind goes when it leaves your breath. And without judgment, your mind just wanders from place to place. It's why we do this practice. We try to draw ourselves back to the present moment without worrying about what we have to do or what we've already done, just being here in this moment. I am breathing in and I am breathing out. Five more steady breaths here. I am breathing in and I am breathing out. And gently begin to draw your knees back up. Find your pelvis even on the mat again. And then if you'd like, you could hug your knees into your chest. Give yourself a little squeeze. And then cross your right thigh over your left. And this might happen more easily than not, right? So if the thighs don't cross, you can always cross the ankles and hug your knees in. We're looking to get stretch through the outer hips. So if it works, we'll cross right thigh over left and then reach for your shins or your ankles coming into a reclined shoelace pose. See if you can avoid grabbing your feet, because when we do, we just sickle our ankles, which kind of overstretches the outsides of our ankles. Settling into the side, noticing if it feels better to have your shins more parallel to the earth or drawing your heels towards your bum. Wherever you're feeling more sensation in your hips, it's perfect. 10 steady breaths here. I am breathing in and I am breathing out. On your next breath, gently begin to release the hold you have on your legs. Send your legs up to the sky. Send your arms up to the sky and give yourself a little full body tantrum. Just shake it on out. And then cross the left thigh over the right or left ankle over the right. You might notice one side feels a lot more than the other. That's the side for me. So adjust again and figure out at what angle you want your shins. And then see if you can settle in, holding again ankles or shins over grabbing the outsides of the feet if you can. Ten steady breaths. Noticing if your inhales and exhales have gotten any fuller through the practice. Maybe the 10 breaths you took when we first started our practice were a little bit more shallow than the breaths that you're taking now. As your body feels ready, gently begin to extend the legs, extend the arms up to the sky, and again, give everything a big shake. And then we'll release down all the way into Shavasana, letting your legs extend. Arms can rest at your sides or palms can rest on your belly if you're really tapping into your breath here and want to feel the rhythm of your breath as you release down. Starting to relax from the soles of your feet up through the crown of your head. Letting go of any energy in your toes. Releasing soles of your feet. Tops of your feet. shins, calves, relaxing your knees, your quads, and your hamstrings, relaxing your glutes and your outer hips, softening around your navel, relaxing through the right side body, relaxing the left side body, releasing through the low, middle, and upper back, relaxing the muscles around your shoulder blades, relaxing your low ribs, your upper chest. Soften the tops of your shoulders, your upper arms, elbows, forearms. Relax your wrists, the backs of your hands and your palms. Relax through your fingers and thumbs. Release through your neck and throat. And then soften your jaw, soften your brow. Relax all the way through the crown of your head, letting your whole body relax on your mat. And then as always, remembering you can stay in Shavasana or your meditation as long as you'd like. If you're short on time and need to start to reawaken, wiggle fingers and toes. And bending into your knees, you can roll to whichever side you'd like. Using your hands to help guide you upright. And then we'll sit back on the edge of a blanket or a pillow. Arms can sweep all the way up overhead, hands down to heart center in Anjali Mudra. Bowing forehead to fingertips in gratitude. I wish you all abundant joy.